Awesome. So, Akin, you opened another, what would I call it? Another bag of
Kind of
gems.
warm.
No, 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 it wasn't a kind of
Oh, it's
worms.
not
It was,
warm. Okay,
it was a
yeah.
bag of gems, a box of gems. It's very beautiful that I introduced that. Although I was saying that belongs with another topic that we're going to deal with, and handling these situations, handling difficult situations like this. But it's really good. So as you were saying that separating, having a break is very good. And I truly believe in having a break because we get so used to see what happens in relationships is, to me, it's just like life. It's like that every day you're going to eat, every day you're going to brush your teeth. You just get into a habit. You get into doing things the way you do things. And it happens with us in relationships. Where the mistake we make in relationships is this. At the beginning, we actually establish how our relationships are going to be. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah.
Whatever we do at the beginning is how we set our relationship up to be,
Yeah.
right? And so at the beginning is where we need to actually craft this relationship. So what I'm preaching now is approach the relationship as a project. Hmm? Determine what your requirements are for the relationship, right? And in fact, let's even stop talking about relationship. Let's stop talking about man and woman because these things I think they apply to any type of relationship.
Relationships.
Any
Yeah.
Work. Yeah.
with your siblings, with your family, with your friends, because people also talk about how my friend doesn't seem to care about me. I seem to be the one always there for my friends, but when it's my turn, they're not there. This is how we have set up our relationship to be. Because we didn't do the groundwork properly, you know, because we didn't, oh, okay, I've done something wrong. So this is part two of a topic that we started somewhere else for anyone who sees this. The topic is staying in dead relationships. And as I just said a second ago, we want to extend this to beyond male and female relationships. We want to talk about general how to, how to make your relationships work. And the story in focus is about a woman who is in a bad marriage and she's staying in that marriage. She's saying because her parents were divorced, she doesn't want to have a divorce because she doesn't want her children to be people from a divorced background. She doesn't want to continue a cycle. And so now we're talking about relationships. Now, how do we get to these bad relationships? I think we just talked about establishing uh, the wrong foundation. Everything always starts from the roots of it. When we talk about life, the issues that we have as adults, it starts from childhood. That's why we keep on talking about childhood. What you show children, what children learn, the dysfunction that they see is what they believe to be the norm, and then grow up with it, right? Okay, so too many things are entering my head. Um, Let me drag us back to the questions that I wanted to ask. Now, getting into this relationship, um, I think really we get into the poor relationships that we get into in our lives are because we didn't know how to even we didn't know the right things to look out for. So I feel now almost like this should be a subject taught in schools, teaching children how to form relationships and teaching people how to make decisions, right? So let me ask our first question. How best can we help our kids in preparing for a fulfilling life when grappling with a situation like this that this woman is in? What should we do? I think we already answered that in our part one. We said talk to the kids and let them know that this is not how a relationship is supposed to be, so that it's not a model for them, because them watching this is setting a bad example for them. Now, um, so now here is another question. Are some of us even aware that we're not actually equipped to be good parents? Do you think? Are some of us aware that we're not equipped to be good parents?
All right. Okay. What I
Is
okay, you want to talk? Okay. Go on, easy.
yeah, is anyone actually equipped? You know, I don't think anyone came prepared. I just feel some became more intentional. your passion in life and your experience, or let me not use experience, what you've come across from other people, say other parents while you were single. Some of them are what made some people, you know, get to a point of trying to get themselves prepared by studying books and trying to understand how to raise children. But majority of the people out there are not equipped, in quotes. We just stumble on parenthood for so many people, even for so many people that were expectant for so many years. When the kids come, some have rules, but by the time your baby cries once or twice, you throw caution to the wind and you're just, let's go with the flow. So I don't think a lot of us are equipped, so to say. Some of us just, I, for instance, I I didn't stumble into parenthood, but I wasn't as prepared when I initially started. It was along the line that I realized that I don't want this, I don't want that. And by the time I started meeting other people's kids, I became more intentional. I decided that, okay, I wanted my kid to relate more with people like this than people like that. And then I started making adjustments. But I know some people actually studied ahead. I read a few books, but it's actually not practical. And the way we are raised and our society is, most of us are actually not equipped to become good parents. We hope to be, but we're not equipped.
Okay. So when we notice that we're not, you've said a couple of things like read books. When you notice that you actually don't seem to have the answers that you want to impart on your children, seek knowledge outside of yourself is one thing that you said. Um, how else do you open your mouth? And because you see, when your kids face certain things and they think to themselves, my mom or my dad could have prepared me better if they had known better. Do you know that sometimes we don't have those discussions with we don't have those discussions with our parents. They don't have those discussions with us, but they're thinking like that.
Okay, I want to say something, yeah. And one way or the other, that's the way I have brought up my children. To an extent, maybe something worked to my advantage. The fact that I married relatively, quote and unquote, a bit late in my 30s, around my mid 30s. That was when I got married. So maybe I was a little advanced. I was working. I had established a little before I got married. So, and I'd studied in the process of being a producer director. You know a little of everything. That's just the joy of the job. So maybe I actually knew a lot about raising children without actually raising one. Do you understand? And I'm also a very observant person. But not everybody will be like me.
I certainly noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but basically, what I would tell people is that you cannot tell your children everything.
Mhm.
As in, even if you wanted to, it's impossible for you to sit down and be lecturing them every day about this topic, about that topic. I think one of the cardinal things that you can do in life is to tell your children about principles.
Yeah.
Principles. Principles will guide them through different facets of life.
The same principles can be
Yes,
helpful,
yes,
applicable.
through different stages in life. There was something that I had a conversation with you, Uzo, a while back, and I think I sent a video to you, and you commented and you said this and that, and you then asked me, "What do I think
Okay.
about that
Okay.
same video?"
I remember.
Yeah. So, and I said to you, I said, my view is that in whatever relationship you find yourself, you must not be afraid to communicate your truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, one thing we must leave in our children is that they must not be afraid to communicate their truth in whatever, even if that truth is wrong, even if that truth is maybe seemed unwise. The reason why is it's not about wisdom comes, but wisdom does not come in a day.
Mhm.
Wisdom comes over
Mm.
the years. Do you understand? So, but if they continually speak their truth,
Hmm.
they will discover wisdom.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You know, but
Because they will be corrected if they are wrong, or they
yes,
will discover that what they're thinking is
yes,
right.
they will discover
Hmm.
wisdom.
But if you
But
hide
if
it, you
they
have no way
keep
of
quiet,
confirming.
yes, if they keep quiet, they will not. And I also said any relationship that prevents, stifles, and impedes your ability to communicate and collectively find solutions to a conflict is not worth having.
You should exit.
Hmm.
Any relationship that is like that is not worth having, be it a personal friendship
Mhm.
relationship, or a marital relationship, or even a business relation, whatever relationship you find yourself,
Where
that
you're stifled.
yes, where you're stifled, where you cannot communicate, you understand me, whether individually or collectively, to resolve conflict,
Hmm.
to progress, to make advancement, then you don't have any business in that relationship. You opt out. That's the
Mhm.
truth. And marriage is inclusive.
The
Yeah.
biggest one.
Yeah. So, in all, my take is that we should guide our children with principles where, as they grow older,
Hmm.
the cost of those principles will enlarge, and they will be able to apply them to different facets of their life, even without consulting you.
Yes.
Do you understand? Okay, let me give you a very
Yeah.
good example. I had a small issue with my daughter, my middle daughter, this morning. And I mean, this is personal, but I just feel I need to share it for a lot of people to understand. She was taking a drink. She's 15. You understand? And she was taking a drink that had coffee in it. And I said to her, coffee is not good for you. You are still within your growth years. You should take things that nourish your body and all of that. She said, oh, she gave me an excuse. But what I did was that I allowed her to say everything in her mind. She even went online and Googled it, and Googled the medical side of it, and Googled and said, Daddy, see that? I said, no. See, but I allowed her to. Now, when she finished saying all that was on her mind, all the information and the knowledge that she had about what she was drinking, to try and prove to me that it is right for her to drink it. You understand me? I
Yeah.
still, I told her that for these reasons, for that reason, for this reason. But what I did was that I allowed her to express her truth, irrespective of the fact that, okay, they are not totally correct, but she erred. So she will be, next time, she will be free to talk to me. She'll be free to
Hmm.
even argue with me, but she will submit to higher reasoning. Do you understand? Even after having expressed herself. And that's the way we should raise children. We must not raise them in such a way that they are afraid to talk, they are afraid to reason, they just want to take whatever we tell them, hook, line, and sinker. No.
Zombies.
Yeah. So that way
Uh-huh.
we will get there.
Yeah. That word you just used now, easy. This is what the woman just said to me. Just it's not been up to 24 hours. Feeling like a zombie, where she has no say in what is happening in the family, in her own family, in her marriage. She has no say. In fact, it's like her whole life. This is exactly what Aki was talking about again. Being stifled. It's like the man just sees. It's like he stole her life. You know,
Hmm.
he just sees her whole life. So she has no say in anything. Totally stifled. She will only do things will only work according to. I mean, he just living his life. So yes, as Aki said earlier, we don't want to sound like we're shouting. We're not being pro divorce. It's just for you to recognize that this is not even a relationship. Actually, it's just a situationship. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Just
Pay
in a
attention to
situation.
the signals.
It's
Yes.
just in a situation. And let me take it back again to the beginning of it's the foundations. And so these are the things that we should teach our children. Okay. You cannot be in a place where you cannot be heard, where your opinion doesn't matter. Like Akin has done with his daughter. Let your children know that they matter. Their opinions matter.
Yeah.
You need to be able to open your mouth and speak. You cannot be with somebody who, even if you're talking rubbish, you should be able to speak. And then both of you will talk about it and discuss it and then come to a reasonable, rational conclusion.
Yeah.
So one person doesn't just be the Lord in the relationship.
Yeah.
Because as time goes on, this is
It's a
exactly what it's going
partnership.
to be.
Yes.
This is what the
Yeah.
marriage is going to be. This is what the friendship is going to be. That's how you have people who say, I do everything for my friends, but at the end of the day, it looks like I don't even matter. Because
Yeah.
at the beginning, we didn't stop it. Maybe it's this thing in our culture where we are being polite, being nice and understanding. I say don't be polite. Don't be in that way.
Yeah.
Once you begin to look like you're insignificant in the equation, what's the point?
Yeah.
You're not in a
Walk away if
relationship.
you're not valued. Yeah.
No. So you call it out. You call it out to your friend, your new
Mm-hmm.
friend. Say, hey, Stella, this thing you did, this is the way it makes me feel. It looks like what I think doesn't matter. I don't like it. And then you watch how the person is going to respond. You
Yeah.
know, if they don't respond positively, you have to cut it. Even if you're in a new place where you feel lonely, even if you feel like, oh, I've never had a relationship. This is the
You might be
girl or the
better off
guy.
being by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're going to poison your system and make you feel less than. And when you get, yes, you're going to be walking around a shadow of yourself. There's no point. The relationship is a two-way thing. And what's the other
Mm-hmm.
thing that I wrote? Yeah, so I say call it out or let them change or you kick them out and you end it. We need to teach this to our children. And then have standards and strong boundaries. You need to
Yeah.
know your own standards.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah.
what is okay for me. Once you're doing something that is not okay for me, it's not going to work for us.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're bad. It's just that you're not meeting my own standards, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I need to take a walk because this doesn't work for me. Let's just stop patching and and just managing. Let's stop it because we
Mm-hmm.
keep seeing it with our friends, with
Yeah.
our sisters. Let's just stop it. That's how we get into the person who is the closest to you is the person with whom you have that relationship, and whatever you learn to do with your friends and your family is what you're going to also do with them.
Your
I think.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wanted to add is that people people are afraid. What I see is that people are still afraid to have expectations in relationships.
Mm.
Do you understand me? You know,
No, I don't.
the tendency is to want to go with the flow. Every relationship must have its fruits. Every
Okay.
relationship has fruits,
Mm-hmm.
and it's by the fruits of those relationships that you will know whether that relationship is working or not.
Mm-hmm.
Any relationship that does not have maybe let me give you an example, calls being reciprocated.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It is a simple thing,
Mm.
but
But it's a
when you
signal.
keep calling someone and whether they pick it or they do not pick it, whether they spoke to you or they did not speak to you, they do not take it upon themselves to maybe give you a call. Those are small signs, but they are very important signs. If
Yes.
you are the only one always calling, chatting, you understand me? Maybe it takes days or weeks before the person responds, and they don't ever,
You should know you're not valued at
yeah,
that point.
maybe they do, and
No, but
they
people make
never,
excuses.
yeah, they never respond
Lame
or on
excuses.
time, or even when they respond on time, they never initiate a conversation. Maybe you never cross their minds. Look, if it's one friend or two friends that you have in the whole world, please have them.
It's enough.
But let the
Yeah.
standards of friendship be maintained. Let the fruits of friendship be evident in that
Mm.
relationship. Because
Mm.
people are afraid to have expectations in relationships, either for the fear of maybe I'm expecting too much or I'm expecting too little. No, I have expectation. This person is my friend. There are certain things that are expected of me towards this person. There are certain things that are expected of this person towards me. And that's the same way relationship goes. Because if you're able to maintain that, maybe in a marital relationship, maybe at the onset. Do you understand? It will continue in the marriage. And when you see whether is dropping, you can have a conversation, a very honorable conversation with the person you are involved in with. And you might even have such conversation even before you get married, so that you will even see the way the person is reacting. Because those are
Yes.
pointers that are you as equally important in the marriage or potential marriage,
Yeah.
or you are not. No, because importance, see, everybody will always caress and take care of what is important to them.
What
What
is
they
valuable
cherish.
to them?
Yeah, what we
Yes.
cherish. You understand
There's
me?
no excuse.
The moment somebody is not caressing and cherishing, or is not making you important, then you must know that this, if it's like this before marriage,
And they're not doing anything wrong. Oh. They are not
yes,
doing anything wrong.
but
If they are
They're
not,
just being themselves.
they're not being
yes,
themselves. So it's up to
yes,
you now. You can't say
it's up
somebody's
to
doing
you,
this to me.
as you
Yes.
said, to raise your to have your standard.
Yes.
You can't say, let me give you you are living in the same city with cellular phones, mobile phones, and you will go through a whole day. You have not married this person, no, but you are in love with this person. So you understand me? You are people are in a relationship.
And you're dating,
Yeah,
yes.
and not even a call, not a
Or
text message or two, all throughout the day. What it means is that the person never crossed your mind.
Yeah.
So those are little things that, so if the person does not find reasons why the person did not ask
Maybe
the person.
today they were busy. But
Yes,
what
no,
about
but
Tuesday and
I'm not
Wednesday?
let
saying,
it not be a regular. It shouldn't
yes,
be. It
I'm not
shouldn't be
saying jump
often.
to conclusion,
Mhm.
but make it an expectation, so
Yes.
that
Uh-huh.
if it is not met, you
Uh-huh.
can then ask questions. Well, how come now? How come I didn't hear from you
I
yesterday?
would even take it a step further. I'll make it an expectation. I'll let you know that this is what I expect because this is what works for me. This is what makes me feel like
Yeah.
this matters to you.
It's
And
working. Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that this is what matters to me. I'm not
Yeah,
saying you must do it.
yeah,
But what it means is that if you don't do it, it means that I now know that what matters to me doesn't matter to you. Or you're not
And
able
that's
to. Or maybe you
mhm.
care, but you're not able to. And since you're not able
And
to, it's just not okay for me. So I can't take it. I can't stay with it.
yes.
yeah.
And when you've mentioned it and you notice that there is no change, I think that's a great pointer. That's a huge
Yes.
sign. You
So
know,
this,
if
yeah, I
if
mean,
if I complain about something and I'm not seeing a change, it's not something that can endanger you. It's something that I really long for, and I'm not seeing a change in the positive direction towards that complaint. It's a huge sign. You
Because
know,
it starts in the little things.
it's a
yes.
drop of
Yeah,
drops. Before you know it, you have a full
when you
bucket.
see a lot of when you see a lot of relationships going in the direction that we're talking about, that's becoming dead.
Yes.
You understand me? Whether marital, whether premarital, whether
They were
just
probably
ordinary,
dead from the beginning.
yes, on the
So they started alive somehow.
ordinary
You know,
friendship. Those are
there must be
the
life before
little,
death.
yes, those are the little pointers, the reciprocity, or reciprocity of relationships. Do you understand? There must be a certain amount. It doesn't have to be 50-50. You
Yeah,
understand? But
yeah.
anything below 60-40 is dangerous to any relationship.
This percentages.
Relationship.
Okay,
Yes, yeah.
before we forget. Now this is also taking us to this other question that I asked you. I said, Izzy, I didn't ask you this question. Because I
Okay.
don't really know how you're going to approach it. Okay, so now if you are if in a marriage, say I am older, I am maybe in my 40s, I'm approaching 50. Menopause can start at any time, and I don't have a child, and I'm with my husband, who is not, really playing the role of what I want my husband to be. He's not affectionate. Maybe doesn't even keep me company. Doesn't seem to enjoy being with me. Doesn't. It's just not making me unhappy. You know. Do you realize that a woman like this will feel stuck because at this
Mhm.
point,
No
she
child.
yes, if she doesn't have a child, and she wants to have a child. If she jettisons this relationship, while she doesn't even know when next she's going to have the next relationship, I'm not supporting that she stays. I just want to, what do you think?
Personally, at this point, I might support her staying, but she should find what makes her happy.
Meaning,
I don't believe her happiness has to be tied to that one man.
hmm,
If you try and it's not working, there are no kids, definitely. But if you live, what are you living for? You can find what will make you happy.
what do you
Focus on
mean?
yourself.
How do you mean?
She can build herself, she can create I tell myself I tell people, create a circle for yourself. People who value you, people who care about you, must not necessarily be your significant
So are
other.
you suggesting that she should stay because she wants to have a child, hoping that she can
Not
have a child with this
not
man?
not
And then,
necessarily. Sometimes at a particular stage in life with nothing to look forward to, if someone leaves, they might slip into depression.
okay.
They might, because it looks like I have no child now, I don't have a husband now, nothing is working, what am I here doing? And the thoughts start coming, those
Mhm.
thoughts. So if find peace where you are, find love yourself. If you love yourself and you surround yourself with the right circle, then you'll be fine. You might not
Hmm.
even care how he
This
feels
is
or
another
anything.
discussion we're going to have another day. How do you can say to someone,
No,
love yourself? How
I
how do you encourage them or teach someone to
no, I
feel
want
like
to
this?
say something. Every peculiar what you've just described is a very peculiar situation, and every peculiar situation demands some kind of out of the box approach. It depends on what you want as of that moment. I'm not trying to, encourage anybody to be selfish. You understand? It depends on and as Easy said, uh, it depends on what you want. What's your goal? We all in life, we all have different things in on different hierarchy.
Hmm.
Do you understand? If the number one hierarchy is to have a child, and you don't want to be jumping from one man to the other, what I will advise is, first and foremost, try and make that relationship work. Yeah, hold on. A lot of the times, let me tell you the truth. A lot of the times, it's all
Ah,
about for human beings, it's all about giving up in the mind. A lot of the times, some of the problems that we talk about, especially in relationship, are actually at the expense of our own imagination.
today I'm going to disagree with Aki for the
Hold
first
on,
time.
hold on. Some things are
Let him land.
established. Hold on, some things are established. Yes, they look stark naked. But sometimes, what I realize is that when people have challenges, you
Mhm.
understand, the moment they start thinking and thinking and thinking over about it over time, that challenge
Looks bigger.
becomes 5 times bigger
Mhm.
than it actually is. And the bigger the challenge grows in your mind, the more infinitesimal probable solutions look.
Mhm.
So the person, first and foremost, needs to deal with their mind. Yes, it's obvious you have maybe a partner that seemed uncaring and every other thing that you listed on that list. Do you understand me?
Mm.
But
Mhm.
what you need to first of all is to look inwards. One, am I the reason why the person is like that?
Can I ever be the reason why somebody is the way they are?
Yes, you can.
Mhm.
we
Huh.
Yes.
all we're all human beings. We interact, we
Hmm.
affect
Mhm.
ourselves, whether
Hmm.
we like it or not, whether we want to agree with it or not. First of all, you need to, I'm not saying the person is, I'm not saying don't first of all, think, am I the reason why this person is like this? If you search yourself truthfully and find out that you are not the same, okay, so what problems is on that person's mind, or what is engulfing that person that is making the person behave like that? especially if the person was not like that before.
Let me ask you, I have to interject now.
I'm coming. Let me finish. Now, all this is the interplay of all of this that would determine whether or that would determine the decision that you will take next. Because you need to interrogate all these factors. It is only when you thoroughly and truthfully interrogate all these factors that you can actually make a just and, let me say, a mind resolving decision
Informed decision.
on what to do. Any other thing will be parochial and will be selfish and will be all the negatives parading around them. Do you understand? That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not so straightforward cut, because you will only hear this story from the side of the person telling you. You understand? But
Yeah.
as I said, let's leave all of that aside and say to you, let's even be a little biased and say, what's your priority?
I think that's the bottom line.
Is your priority the husband, or your priority is the child that you want to have? Because
I think that we have to narrow it down.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to. Is it a husband or the child that you want? If it is a child, then what I will advise is that try your best to make the relationship work. Let the man's head calm down. Maybe in calming down or in seeing another side of your relationship, it will actually change.
But I believe that a person in this situation must have tried, because
I don't want to assume anything.
No, because it's a tight situation. So if I found myself in that situation, I'm sure Izzy or you, Akin, you find yourself in a situation where there's something that you really want, and the way the relationship is happening, the dynamics are creating the issue for you. You're going to do your best to make yourself amiable to that person, because this is what you want to work. So I want to believe that the person in this situation will be objective enough to do everything possible, you know. Yes. So let's assume that this person has done everything. I think that you finally hit the nail on the head. We really want to get to a resolution. We want to get to an answer. So what we need to do is ask ourselves the question. Okay, so now this man is a difficult man for me to have a relationship with, and I want a child. So I really have to say to myself, I have to now sit down, because this is life staring me in the face. I say to myself, what do I really want? If I want a child, and I want a child with this man, because you have to also ask yourself, if this is really the way this man is, if I have a child with him, what kind of a partner is he going to be in raising this child? He's not going to just be a difficult person. So you have to now sit down and say to yourself, all right, so I have a difficult person that I'm dealing with, but I still want a child with this person. So what is it going to look like when I have a child with this person? And then be ready, start to prepare yourself that if I end up having a child with this person, this is what it's going to look like. Like, this is most likely what it's going to look like. And I have to prepare myself for a life that I'm raising this child with a man like this. These are the problems that I'm going to experience, and I'll be prepared for it. Or, oh no, I had better not have a child with this man. I had better, start thinking about another relationship, right? And start working towards that.
Yeah.
Or even if I decide to leave this one, I'll know that maybe I will not have another relationship fast enough before biology catches up with me. And so maybe I will not have a child. Maybe I even prefer, okay, so let me know it now. So right now, let me start working towards adoption, or,
Yes, ma'am. I want to quickly say something. Do you also know that the state that one is in life can actually affect the way one's action, one's responses, and one's postulation towards a certain situation? Do you know that it might not actually be a serious factor if this lady was 24?
Yes. That's why.
Yeah.
It might not be a factor. Sometimes desperation, because right now she's in a desperate state. And you see, energy connects with energy. Because of the desperation, there might be certain things that she will say. There might be certain things.
Naturally.
yes, certain ways that she will behave that is communicating a negative interaction with the man that she's with.
And
So
you, do you,
Hmm.
why are you sounding like you're holding brief for this man?
no, I'm not holding brief. I'm
Funny
not.
enough,
I'm not saying that any man should be the way with
Because
what
even
God
he
is.
should know, even he should know that with her situation,
Yeah,
he can understand what if she does or says anything.
yeah,
If he cares,
yeah,
he should be
yeah.
able to.
I
Yeah,
agree with you.
he might care, but emotionally, we handle situations differently.
Yeah,
He might be more broken than she is.
in that
You know.
case, yeah. I mean, I know sometimes you might be dealing with somebody who has issues, right? It's either of two things. When people are giving you an attitude, it's either they really don't care about you, or they have issues that they need to resolve before they can treat you properly. But the bottom line at the end of the day is, I don't want what this person is giving me, whether it's because they don't like me or whether it's because they have an issue. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're feeding me food that I don't want.
yeah.
So
I agree with you. But also, I have also seen situations where the arrival of the baby changed everything.
hey,
Yes, is
huh?
very possible.
Yeah,
Yes,
I have seen
yes,
the
I
yes.
haven't
arrival of.
seen it. I haven't
I
seen
have
it.
I have,
seen the
I have.
arrival of a.
I've seen people who have tried
I,
it,
I've
and
seen so
even after the arrival of the baby,
I've
it
seen
looked
so
like
much
things were
in life.
changing, but then they switched back again
I have seen not
because
Wow.
switch, not switch. The arrival of the baby created an environment that made the entire situation 360 or 180.
it's not impossible anyway.
We are not advocating for that. But what I say to the lady is she must determine what is important to her.
Mhm.
Yes,
Do you understand me? She
yes, it's
must
hard.
determine what is important to her. Everything in life that we do, they are on the different hierarchy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
Our
priorities.
yes,
priorities,
priorities,
yeah.
yes. What is more important to you? Do you have the patience? Do you
Mhm.
see a future with the man? Do you, irrespective of the fact that he's behaving like
I
a
just don't like people setting themselves up for
yes,
heartbreak. I want to be prepared right now. I don't want my hopes to all be in it, and then
Can
tomorrow
I,
because it's so
can anyone
painful.
be so
uh,
prepared?
the,
Huh?
Can anyone be so prepared?
That's why when you see the signs, you need to know, okay, I'm
yes.
going in. I already know this is not going to work, but I want my baby. So I'm ready for that. I want to be prepared for that.
There are people who did that. There are
Yes.
people who did that. So yeah,
Yes.
people no people
It will save you. It is because heartache can kill. It actually kills.
yeah. Because let me tell you the truth. For this man that we're talking about, I do not agree with his character. I believe if you are in a relationship with anyone, you must be committed to it and you must do everything to make it work. Do you understand me? But what I
Mhm.
say to the lady is that can she sincerely say that she did not see the some of the handwritings on the wall?
Yeah. I mean, we've dealt with that. That's what we talked about.
So
She
those
might
are
not.
Literally,
She might not
those
have
the
seen
hair.
if a baby is the bone of contention here. She might not have seen the handwriting on the wall. Sometimes, because things are not working out. Imagine the man having younger brothers and sisters and nephews, even having kids
Yeah,
before him, and he got married before them. Some people are pushed to the edge, and they get to a point that they lose themselves in the process because they want a child so badly, and
yeah,
they probably want it with this woman. Doesn't mean that he's probably looking for another woman to have a child with, but we handle disappointments differently.
differently. Yeah,
He might not be blaming the woman with his attitude, intentionally, but his
yeah,
attitude might show her that, okay, the blame is on you. I don't want it with you. But deep down, he really wants it with her. But life is not giving him the cards he expects. And the way we handle tough situations like this, for me, is so tough. I can't imagine it. It's when you've seen people that have been expectant for years and
yeah,
where they are emotionally. Most of them are not all lovey-dovey, like your spouse comes in and gives you a peck and all that. They
yeah,
get to a point that you nod when he comes in. They're not quarreling, but expectations are cut short
yeah.
daily.
So
So
low.
I think,
Yeah,
yes, it can kill the spirit of a man. In as much
yeah,
as he doesn't want to hurt his wife that way, he might end up doing it unintentionally,
yeah.
I don't even understand what you're
unconsciously.
saying. I honestly, I don't understand.
Okay, what I'm
Sometimes, yeah,
saying is, What I'm saying is, if
Okay.
the man is reacting that way, it might not be intentional.
Are you saying that maybe he too has been expectant? Is that what you're saying? Of the
Yes,
baby?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. If he
Okay.
has younger ones and even nephews and nieces that just got married a couple of years ago and their kids are gradually growing up before him, he starts questioning himself. Is it when I'm 60 that I'll have my own child, and start raising them at
Yeah,
what
but
age?
if you're in it together, you talk about you are together in your pain too, so it makes
It,
it easier
it,
for you.
we all handle pain
It's
differently.
true
Let me
though.
call it pain. It
It's true.
gets
It's
to a
true.
point that what are you talking about that you've not talked about for the past 14 years? If you've been expecting for that length of time, it gets to a
Okay.
point that we all handle pain differently. Some that kind of reaction might not be out of I don't care how she feels, or I want to hurt her because I just want a child. It's I can't handle this. I didn't plan for this. I don't know how to do this. And sometimes when people don't handle pain well, they can't even communicate well because they don't
Okay.
know what to say.
Okay. Were you saying something?
Yeah, I was going to quickly say that sometimes there are many extraneous factors that are actually affecting relationships that are not direct, that are indirectly linked to the problems that are existing in the relationships, but they are not talked about when issues of that side comes up. Do you understand me? There are other extraneous
Mhm.
factors.
Always. Yeah,
Yes.
naturally.
So
Because humans are
sometimes,
complex, huh?
yeah, sometimes when people tell you about an issue or a situation,
Yes.
they're actually telling you that thing that they are concentrated on, but
Yes.
there are other extraneous factors creating,
Yeah.
the problem. So sometimes it's a bit difficult, it's a bit naughty. Maybe
If I
you
can
probably
take
Okay.
need
just a
to
few
have
minutes.
a therapy
Mhm.
situation with the people involved to be able
Mhm.
to resolve it. Just hearing one
If
side of the case.
Okay.
if I if I can take just a few minutes before we close, let me tell the story of a family I know. So there's this man. He had a daughter and a wife, and the wife left with his child. Still moved into their neighborhood, but there's a little distance, some streets apart. And then he met another lady that was a single mom. I don't know her background story, but she had two kids or three, but she portrayed to children as to people as two. So he got married to her, did the traditional, and that was where they stopped. And from the onset, while they were still dating, he told her that I have a daughter and a wife. How old is your daughter? She's about 5. And she said it's fine. They dated for 3 years, and she never revealed she had two kids that are about the same age with his daughter. And she was
I've seen
living with
that a
them.
lot.
And she was living with them and a girlfriend of hers. So every time the man comes to her house, she doesn't want him coming to the house. She puts up the front that, okay, my friend and her children and my sister's children.
Oh, easy is gone. That that is another major angle to it.
Yes. They
Oh,
they
that
got married, they had their first child, and he
what?
didn't know. Yes. And then they had their second child. And they live in a low profile area. So he went out for his daily hustles. On his way back, it rained, there was puddle and all that on the road. So he was all muddy. But they had this tank at the back of their house. And then he went to wash his feet before getting into the house. Only to hear her cautioning the
Overhead.
other two kids. Yes, he overheard her cautioning them from the window. They didn't know he was just before the window. And she was telling them, I've told you to call me auntie, not mommy. Do you want him to know that you're my children? Nobody
Wow,
must know. And she was saying that, and the man became
that's
broken.
drama.
That's unfortunate.
This is
That's
real life.
drama.
So real. And she was cautioning them that you don't have to call me auntie, stop calling me mommy. Because they were used to calling her mommy before this whole marriage thing. And the two kids she had for the man were just a year apart. So he washed his feet, held himself outside for a while, came inside, pretended he didn't hear about it. And she never mentioned it. And he started looking at her from a different angle. And his attitude towards the relationship changed. He was buying them clothes, undies, everything, supporting before this whole issue. And when this happened, he told himself, let me give her a little more time. He called her so many times and said, is there something you want to talk to me about? I said, no, everything is fine. He was investing in her business. She was doing provisions, and then he started slowing down because he felt no, something is wrong here. He went as far as calling her mother to say, Is everything all right? Is there something you want to tell me? The mother said, no, it's my late cousin's children, but she was living with them before the woman died and the husband died, and they are close to her and she cannot leave them. And he said, okay. He waited for years. With time, you know, he wasn't providing. She became very arrogant, very insulting. And then the kids started taking after her, started answering him rudely and everything. Because when he goes out, she bashes him behind. So the kids started seeing that her kids were still very tender and they started taking after her attitude. He'll call them, they will look at him first, take their time before, some attitude that he couldn't believe was happening. And eventually, till date, she never mentioned it. But the truth is out, gradually with time. And he never mentioned it. And what did this man do? He stopped loving her, in quotes. I don't know how else to put it. Stopped providing, even for his own kids, stopped providing for everything, stopped
Felt
supporting
betrayed.
her
Yeah,
business.
felt betrayed.
Yes, in a huge way. And as at Christmas, she decided to relocate. Why? She said he doesn't love her enough, she doesn't provide, and she was just talking, talking,
Both of them,
talking
I
all
don't
over
even
the place.
understand what they're doing because nobody's opening their mouths to talk. I don't. So he found out and he still kept quiet. I don't understand.
He
I don't
found
know.
out, eventually it just came out, and they all lived with it. But he barely came home, he barely provided. And she kept bashing him, even as the kids have grown. The oldest is about 9 of their 2 kids.
You're even making,
And guess what?
making me
It's real, it's for real. Now
getting on
he
my nerves
he
with keeping all these secrets.
she decided to relocate and said he's not man enough, he's not doing, how can we be stuck in the same position? He's not providing, he's actually making money, but he comes home pretending he has
Eh?
nothing. Is a two can play game. And when she moved, he decided to have a proper conversation. He called her and said, come back, let's have a chat. I'll provide, I'll do this, I'll do that. She said, no, he's go. No, 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 she's done. How many years have I been with you and all that? She left. He begged her to come back. He even traveled to see her where she was. She refused to come back. He came back. Started a new relationship recently, and she's calling the whole world to beg him to have her back. The relationship is dead already. The man has moved. When mediators went to meet him, he said, no, it's fine. She wanted to go. I went there, I paid her new house rent. That was sent forth, and I'm done.
Dramatic personate. These people are acting.
But what I'm trying to say,
It's happening.
what Easy Story is saying is that there are always different aspects,
Yes.
to some stories. Sometimes people are they don't tell you the full story. You understand me? They tell you
I
their,
heard her part.
yeah,
I
they will
heard
tell
her
you their
part,
own.
and
I'm
later I
just
heard
saying
the man's
generally,
part.
they will tell you
And
their
then I
own
took myself
expectation.
out.
Of course. Even
Yeah,
if they
so
try to tell you, there's no way you can get the full picture because
yeah, so
if
so
you're
that's
not living that life with them, there's no way they can capture every moment.
yeah. So but she has to decide what she wants. She's the one to decide what she wants.
Yeah.
What's the top of
Her
her
decisions
hierarchy?
are too late. For
Yeah.
the man, her decisions are late. No matter what she decides, he's done. And he
No, no,
made it
not
Oh,
clear.
not
no, I
not
don't think
not
he's talking about
regarding your
your that
story.
Okay.
story.
Your story. I
Okay.
mean, our earlier story from Uzo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
what I mean.
I'm just all about how do you make it? How do you make the decision? You have to really just bottom line weigh what it is that you want,
Yeah.
prioritize what's
Yeah.
important to you,
Your
and then
priority.
prepare yourself because life doesn't work for none of us gets a free ride for anything at
Yeah.
all. Everything so it's you have to choose your own hard, right? And just prepare yourself that I'm going to face this one. This is what it is. Make up your mind because being in limbo is one of the most difficult things, not knowing whether to
Yeah.
one foot in, one foot out. Just tackle the thing, decide, okay, this is what it is. I'm now going in this direction and just go for it.
There's obviously something biting at that man. I don't believe any man will be in a relationship and will be like that and still be in the relationship. Do you understand me? Men are about, am I doing something or I am not? You
But I
understand me?
think maybe we'll get into it on another
There's
day.
something biting. There's something biting him. There's
Yeah,
something biting him that we
we
that
don't
we
fight. Because
don't.
I mean, sometimes I can enter a relationship because there's just one thing I want from there. I can go into a full marriage. People do
Yeah.
that. They go into a full marriage because they want one thing from there and they don't want the 90% or the 99. They just want one thing from there.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
also
You're
possible.
right. You're right.
That's also possible.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. With this, we'll come to the end of this one. I think we took it. Yeah. with those
Interesting topic.
with those that's your couple, their story. All right. So some people for me, I just believe that life is actually simple. Life is simple. We
Very
are the
simple.
ones who complicate it for ourselves. I mean, just look at it. Is it red? It's red. Is it blue? I'm not going to be like, is it a mixture of red and blue? I'm not. It just makes things too hard. So let's know where we're
Communicate,
going. Yeah.
communicate, speak your truth, be open at all times.
Speak
If
your
you're
truth
in a
and
relationship
insist
with
on
someone,
being heard. Insist
yes,
on being heard.
yeah,
Look out
Don't
for the
tell them.
signs early.
And
Weigh
accept them
them.
for what they are. And doesn't make the other person bad. They're just not a good. They're not a right fit. Full stop. That's just what
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Not the
Look out
right
for the
fit.
signs early. If it's not going to work
And
for you,
then
walk away.
make the relationship a friendship. If it cannot work as a relationship like that, you make it a friendship. You don't
yeah,
have to take it where it's not supposed to go. That's how we destroy
Mhm.
relationships. All
yeah.
right then. So on that note, um, enjoy the rest of your weekend and thank you for being with us. And
Have a great
catch
week,
us
guys.
catch us next Saturday. We start at 3 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. West Africa time. Bye bye. This is Diaspora Lounge.
Bye.
Bye.